Welcome back, Crystal Warriors, to a year of Final Fantasy in the month of Shiva. So today we're going to be talking about our first game, and it's actually not Final Fantasy, it's going to be Dragon Quest. So, since we're going to review this first proper game, why exactly am I talking about the longtime enemy of Final Fantasy? Well, because it was instrumental in the creation of the series as a whole. We very well may not have a Final Fantasy today if Dragon Quest never existed. Dragon Quest itself took inspiration from older games like Ultima and Wizardry and many other early computer RPGs. At that time, Yuji Horii took to creating the franchise known as Dragon Quest. Another very important thing to note is that the series characters were drawn by the now famous Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame. So Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior as we know it over here in America, is really the foundation for the subgenre known as the Japanese RPG, or JRPG for short. Traditionally, JRPGs have a rather compelling story compared to many computer RPGs at the time, which were just create your party and go and kill stuff, the whole murder hobo thing that you may hear around. Anyway, along with expertly drawn timeless sprites like the slime, the music was also very memorable as well. All of these aspects blended together to create what really is a timeless classic. Okay, that's great, but what exactly does it have to do with Final Fantasy? Well, the answer is actually really simple. Without this game's massive success, Square would not have taken note, but it was a success and they did take note, and this is when the plans of Final Fantasy actually begin to take off. As mentioned in my previous videos, Square had only one chance to save itself from bankruptcy, and any gamble at this point would have been the highest of stakes for them, and of course, as we now know, it paid off big time. As the years began to roll by and Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest were already on their feet, there emerged a rather large divide between Japan and the Western audience about which one they preferred, Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy. Dragon Quest simply never took off in the US as it did in Japan. So let me quote an interview with the creator that addresses this topic. Dragon Quest series producer Yumi Aki states that there are two main reasons for the big divide in Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy popularity. The first is that in Japan, the Famicom was the kind of moment that video games had become part of families, and people really started bringing that into their homes. In the West, we feel like PlayStation is where home consoles really caught on with Final Fantasy VII, so Final Fantasy has that foundation, where it really captured the hearts of gamers. Mature gamers look at it and feel as if it's a kid's game, referring to Dragon Quest. When you actually play the game, it's a little complicated for children to play, but it's kind of been a hurdle for grown-ups to get into. So we can see, even back then, the specter of the mature versus kiddie games was very palpable. Regardless, Dragon Quest truly belongs on this project as the two are so tightly intertwined, first as rivals and about 2 decades later as companions. I'm gonna leave it there. We could spend an entire year talking about Dragon Quest, but this is for Final Fantasy, and I wanted to give an insight of how Dragon Quest really shaped the foundation that allowed for Final Fantasy to become part of a grand series that we know today. So next time we're actually going to be talking about a real Final Fantasy game, and that game is going to be the world of Final Fantasy. Stay tuned for that, and until next time, Crystal Warriors, keep on gaming.